Hello and welcome to the agency. Today we'll be diving into new anime and what possible situations they hold. I am joined by the Step, Yukikaze Gaming, because our analytics show that the most popular things on the internet are cats, femboys, and females. So at least we have two of those.
Well said. Well said.
But yes, so what today's goal and observation is, well, besides weaponizing friendship, which we're always trying to do here at the agency, going over what is the newest and great and hopefully greatest anime coming out this season, or at least the ones we perceive to watch. Because holy god, jeebus, there's a lot of anime this season.
There's more and more every season. And I saw a statistic that said that there's now been more anime produced since 2010 than the entire rest of the history of anime combined. And that was before this season.
I believe it. Although I still laugh like, oh, the quality is not. It's like, yay! No, the quality has improved. Overall, the quality has improved.
Yeah, and if you really go back and look at the quality of some of the stuff that people don't really remember as much from back in the day, it was bad.
Oh, don't. One of my favorite series to still go back and watch is Anime Abandoned. And, oh dear mother of God, some of those. Okay, but starting off on the one to watch, Kizuno Alley, because I had a lot of I don't know if I really liked this or didn't like it, but I had a lot of feelings on this one watching that.
Yes, it certainly would bring up quite a few feels. My take on it is that it has no reason to exist.
Well, it wants to be an idol anime.
Kind of. But it really is just like this weird, bizarre wish fulfillment, almost kind of thing that seems to be going on for Kizuna Ai.
Oh, wow, that's a lot louder than I thought it was going to be.
Uh-oh. Blowing out everybody's eardrums?
No, it's just I didn't want it to override you for volume control.
Oh, I see.
I'm trying to run the trailers for some of these as we go into them. Okay, no, Kosh will be the end of the year enders. Maybe. But so far, honestly, as a VTuber myself, I noticed, a lot of the stuff right off the bat with this one is the opening performance drops frame rates.
Speaking of which, I will go ahead and show the trailer on my screen while we talk.
Yep.
As well. So, it's bizarre, because, the whole thing seems to be designed to feature the VTuber performances that are done with an actual VTuber, or possibly in, MMD from the looks of it. But the animation in that is clearly a step down from the animation in the 2D animation, which is just super awkward.
Well, actually, how many idol anime have you watched before?
Yeah, I suppose you have a point there, because there is a tendency in idol anime to cut to 3D versions of the performances that do tend to be kind of significantly lower quality than the rest of the performance, or the rest of the animation, I should say. But at the same time, I still watch this and kind of wonder to myself, who is the audience for this? Because it feels like, on the one hand, it's designed to appeal specifically to fans of Kizuna Ai, but on the other hand, I kind of feel like anybody who was a fan of Kizuna Ai wouldn't really care about the rest of this show.
So is Kizuna Ai an actual VTuber or AI?
She is a VTuber whose lore is that she is an AI, is my understanding. And she was one of the first VTubers, way back before any of it hit the US or anything like that.
Oh, okay. I'm fairly sure I know who you're talking about now. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
mhm.
All right, so one of the things I did hear while I was looking into this one a little further was this could be a launch platform for other VTubers.
Hmm. Interesting. I mean,
Which,
possibly. That's certainly a thing that could happen with that. Because it is, having other characters kind of take the lead away from Kizuna Ai, which is especially weird because of the type of anime it seems to be.
and the
But
title.
yeah, I could see that maybe if that's what they were trying to do, that would make sense. At the same time, I'm not sure if these are other people that they're featuring actually are other VTubers, or if they were just kind of made up for the series.
As far as I've been able to find, they're not actual VTubers. But like I said, that the theory I have heard was these are all potential VTubers that are about to launch, and this anime was going to be their springboard.
It's certainly possible. At the same time, again, I feel like with how this is playing out, it's just not going to get the viewership they need for something like that.
Yeah,
It's
no.
okay.
Well, I was going to say, it's like, on top of that, I know I'm still fairly young into the VTuber community myself, but like looking at everything I have to do, set up, and all this, I'm looking at these kids in this, and I'm just like, wow, you guys all kind of suck at this for going to a private school for this job.
Yeah, very much. Like it just is very bizarre having this world that they've built where it's now such a common thing that there is a school for it, and yet this is the quality of people that are, in the course.
Yeah, well, I I think the biggest thing that really stuck out to me, other than that too, was the main character for this. Her avatar is just her in fancy clothes. Not
Yeah.
like high VTuber clothes or anything. Just like, wow, this is a high end outfit I would go to like a club with or perform with. It's like not even like a good perform outfit. It's just like I understand you model a lot of people model VTubers after aspects or themselves. I very
Yeah,
much
but
am in that boat too. And update this, but mine is a lot of influences from what I wanted to be, not just exactly who I am.
I think also what plays into it feeling very strange is that they keep making a huge point about the fact that um, anything is possible in the virtual world, but then that's what they do with all that possibility.
Well, I think the biggest jarring aspect of it too is it's only her. Well, at least so far, we see her
Yeah.
class like the teacher. That's a full furry VTuber. There's a lot of classmates who were like elves, other furry VTubers, other aspects. Like there's a lot of variety in her class. Why is the MC the only non-main character looking main character here?
I guess just so that the audience can make sure that they identify her in both of her forms, so to speak. But even then, like, that could have been easily solved with, like, a very low budget transformation sequence or something. Which they already include a transformation sequence in the show. So there's not really a reason why they couldn't have, done that to transition the audience and help them understand that that's what they were seeing.
Yeah, which the only explanation I can think of is they want to start her off at basic mode and want to upgrade her throughout the show. Like, oh, here's the basic start, and here's how you'll improve.
Yes,
Which,
me.
okay, yeah, it's not a bad idea. It's like it's a very basic concept to have in a show, character progression. But the
But
fact
at the
that you
same
start her,
time, her classmates, presumably, are starting from the same place she is, so.
yeah, that's the point I was going to point. It's like everyone else around her looks far more advanced. That And one thing it bugged the ever living crud out of me when she started. Like you actually see her like views and followers on her at after the end of her first like music video stream. 80 viewers, 50 followers.
Yeah, which honestly is, at least by today's standards, pretty good.
I mean, who has a channel that only has 50 followers that gets 80 live views?
Also fair.
It's like, dear God, I have almost 80 followers, and I'm lucky if I get 2 views.
Yeah, I feel like they didn't do a whole lot of research into what VTubing is actually like to support the world building that they did.
Yeah, like I said, it feels very much like an idol anime that they just, oh, hey, what's real? What's big right now? Oh, VTubers. Let's make an idol VTuber anime. Which, yeah, on paper that sounds good, but you do need to do a bit more research on that.
I think, to me, it sounds even more like, or feels even more like they tried to do basically the VTuber equivalent of one of those low-budget gacha anime. Well, not even low budget, like the ones that they sink a lot of money into for the art, but that clearly have no sense of direction behind the story or anything. Or where the story is being, for some reason, forced to mimic whatever lame plot they have in the actual mobile game.
And this is done by Wit Studio too.
Yeah, it's like the 2D animation in it is quite nice. I can't for the life of me figure out who the audience is supposed to be. Because either you're a VTuber fan and you're going to be disappointed by how, not accurate all the VTubing stuff is, or you're an anime fan and you're not going to have a reason to care about the whole VTubing aspect.
And like I said, I do think this is an idol anime at heart. Although I can't find the tag for that, which there generally is one, so that's odd. I also can't find the director for this. That's not a good sign. Didn't want to put his name on. Oh no, here we are.
Yeah, when the director doesn't want to put their name on it.
Kichiro Kamiyama. Oh wow, okay. So either that's a name he's using, or this is his very first anime.
Well, that would explain a bit as well, I suppose.
Oh, they actually list Kizuma AI as Kizuma AI for the credits. That's cool. I gotta be other Discord, but okay. So as the first show, what is this a? You're gonna give it a couple more episodes. You're going to, you are done with this one so far.
I'll probably give it a couple more episodes just because that's how I roll. But so far, I see no reason to continue it, and it feels like work to force myself to watch it.
Yeah, that's this felt very drainy, but okay. So going on to that is for me. The problem I have is I have a crud ton of extra time where I basically can only watch anime and TV shows. So this I probably will watch more. But if I did not, this would be a skip at this point. That was just, I am not the crowd for this.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone that I would recommend this series to. It is definitely one of my bottom series for this season.
Yeah, which, oh, one thing else I did want to list. Would you want to list your favorite genres and least favorite genre, Yuki?
Oh, yeah, so my favorite genres, I really probably mainly tend towards fantasy stuff, which by extension kind of includes like the isekai genre. Although obviously that's a mixed bag. And then I also do a lot of like romance, and a little bit of the more like degen kind of harem stuff and things like that. As well as like healing anime. Is kind of a new genre that's come around, but I really enjoy those shows. The only things I really don't watch are, like sports anime. Like, if it's a sports anime, I'm probably almost automatically not going to watch it.
Yeah, those are really hit and miss. As for anyone about me, my all-time top is definitely the mecha genre. I'm also a big sci-fi nut, which weirdly enough, though, why those two aren't exclusive to each other. There have been a handful of really great fantasy mecha, um, as well as a big fantasy and shonen. Isekai has also become a close contender for me. The two I really bounce off of are rom-coms and slice of life. Romance is not my style, and day-to-day life. Well, I've never seen an anime that could do day-to-day life that was as exciting as the life I have to live. Although healing anime has been a genre I have gotten into somehow. Gretzko was a really big love for me.
Hmm. Yeah, I would say, there's obviously some genres I skipped over there too. I watch pretty much everything in between, including like the cute girls doing cute things genre and stuff like that. But definitely, yeah, sports is the genre that has the least appeal.
Yep. There have been a few sports I have liked. Hajime no Ippo is a definitely favorite of mine.
Yeah, I've watched a little bit here and there. I guess Initial D would be an exception, but I don't really consider it a sports anime. Even though it kind of is, it's also kind of more like shonen anime almost than sports.
Most sports anime are shonen.
This is true. Yeah. But also car racing is sort of borderline as far as sports go.
Oh, don't let the South America, Southern United States hear that.
Well, I should say, illegal street racing.
I think my comment still stands.
Hop in the General Lee! Okay. Yeah, so,
Can we get to our next show? Do you want to pick the next one to talk about?
Sure. Let me see. I had the little list that I made as well. Off of that.
Yep, which I did get a chance. Weirdly enough, I did not get to the rom-coms and slice of lifey ones. I as much as like I said, I just cannot like those. Yeah.
Fair enough. This one was actually one of the ones from my list, so I'll go to one of the ones, a different part of the list. I would like to talk about My Home Hero, if you've seen any of that.
Unfortunately, that was one of the few I could not make it to.
Okay, well, I can kind of solo chat on that a little bit.
Alright, I will pull up the trailer really quick for us. Hopefully that's not too loud for everybody. Got YouTube cranked down about as far as I could get it. It doesn't quite override us.
So, this series, off the bat, don't want to give spoilers. Even the warnings that I'm going to give here could potentially be spoilers, so if you don't want spoilers, close your ears to this. But, definitely a lot of trigger warnings with this anime. There's definitely blood, there's definitely death and murder. If, that kind of violence is not your thing, even though it's mostly as part of kind of more of a, drama, then this may not be the series for you. But, if you were a fan of, more serious anime that have darker themes, and if you liked, shows like Monster, then this definitely has that kind of vibe to it, and it's definitely one of the standout picks for me this season so far. For anyone who hasn't watched any of it yet, the quick synopsis is basically that a father kills the Yakuza member who is his daughter's boyfriend, but is really just trying to use her for some family money, and has been abusing her, and it's self-defense, but he can't allow it to be found out because the guy is a Yakuza member, so even if he can get away with it with the police, the Yakuza will still kill him. So he's forced to work with his wife to hide the fact that he killed this person, both from the police and the Yakuza, as well as his daughter. So this creates a pretty tense and intense situation as these amateurs who really are not used to killing people find themselves having to try to literally get away with murder.
Yeah, it's definitely gave me a monster feel when I was watching the trailer for that.
Yeah, even the animation style has kind of a similar vibe to it.
Which definitely a great show. Back I watched that back when it aired. So
Yeah,
let's see.
definitely do recommend Monster for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. Again, similar warnings. It does get very dark, and it definitely has a lot of violence and stuff in it. So,
Yep,
if that's
this
not
is
your thing,
done by Tezuka Productions and Hito Momomata is the director, known for
known for
Yuri
Monster?
Camp. Well, no, he's look at his other works. Yuri Camp and nothing else that I really have ever heard of before.
Free Camp couldn't possibly be a more different anime from Monster.
Yeah. And Tezuka Productions, so a studio known for older style anime, which is kind of weird because this is a newer manga, I do believe.
Yeah, and it definitely has, the layer of polish on it that you would expect from newer anime while still having that kind of dark overtone to it.
Yeah, which has been a nice turn. While there have been edgelord anime, there haven't been actual dark anime in most seasons we've gotten so far.
Yep, and this season we seem to have possibly gotten 2 of them. So this should be interesting.
Well, there actually might be a third unless we're thinking of the same one here. But
Possibly?
anything else? Anything else you have on that one?
No, I think that's all I've got on that particular show.
Okay, so the one I have next hasn't actually aired yet, weirdly enough. I'll post the trailer for this one in your chat here real quick. The Sacrificial Princess and the Beast King, or the King of Beasts.
This sounds like it might be one of those Chinese anime.
I can't remember. I've actually read the manga on this many years back.
I will pull it up.
They play it over here. This one definitely has a almost Beauty and the Beast vibe to me. Although I have heard the Ancient Magus Bride comparison to this a couple of times.
Okay, I can immediately see the Beauty and the Beast kind of vibes. Also, maybe like the Sleepy Princess in the Demon Lord's Castle. Those kinds of shows that we've seen a few of recently.
Yep. One's being done by JC staff, so definitely an interesting studio, and Chika Khan, known for that looks like a long-running series director. I know for Bleach Naruto, but no, this is a very interesting series. I don't know how far are you on your trailer on your side.
It's just wrapping up the first loop.
Yep. But I'll try not to go into too many spoilers for those who want to go into it. But the whole premise starts off with, every so many years, or every so often, the human race has to give a sacrifice to the King of Beast, who is, they say beast, but demon's pretty interchangeable on this one. And Cole goes and like, oh, he's going to eat her. Gets there, and he's just like, ah, I'll just have her in my castle.
Yeah, that
Can't remember if
has
they marry.
there's kind of similar feels to like I said, a couple of other series. There was oh darn, what was the name of it? There was one that just aired last season about demons, and one of them makes a contract with the little girl in the first episode. Trying to blink.
I'm not gonna lie, I learned a lot. I barely watched nothing last season.
Oh, I see, I see. Give me a moment, I'll find the name.
Life was a little too crazy, but no, like I said, I was reading the manga for a time. I only put it down because it's a monthly manga, and I
Oh, The
lose
Tale
track
of
of those every so often.
Outcasts.
Tale of Outcasts. Okay.
Yeah, in fact, even the demon design has some kind of similar elements to it.
Yep.
There's another kind of recent one. Oh, Ancient Magus Bride, which is getting another season, has kind of similar things going on in it too.
Oh yeah, no, there was I was seeing a comparison of like the title for this and the title for that, and it was just like almost a 1-for-1. Which I would give it a little hate, not I wouldn't say hate, but a little points against, but I believe that's like the cover for their opening manga, which I know is at least a little old at this point, because I remember reading that way long. I don't want to say way long back, I'm not that old. But a few years back.
Yeah, it's tough sometimes at first glance, because even if one series gets an anime adaptation first, it's possible that the one that comes later released as like a light novel years before the other one or something like that. So, but because my viewpoint, my vantage is mostly on the purely anime side, I have a tendency to give a little bit of credit to originality for whatever makes it to the anime first.
Yeah,
Personal bias.
that's completely understandable though. That's also one of the biggest things I laugh at when people are like, oh, Berserko Tensei, it's so generic, it's copying all the tropes. Not really, technically.
I wouldn't say that that one was copying the tropes. I feel like it demonstrated a mastery of them.
Well,
And there's definitely a difference between those two things.
Well, I don't know how much you actually know about that, the light novel from Mushoku Tensei, but it's kind of the light novel that kicked off the isekai boom, even before Sword Art.
I had heard something about that, but I don't know all the details.
Yep. No, it's very, or like it's weird because it feels like the refinement, but it's actually the original.
Mm-hmm. Well, sometimes the originals do things so well that that's why they got imitated and started the genre. So, usually the original, at least 2 or 3 of something, have a pretty strong grasp on the elements that everything else later emulates.
Okay. So you would be up next. What would you want to look into?
Huh? Lost my.
Choose now, snap, or forever hold your peace.
I think the next one I'd like to touch on is The Dangers in My Heart.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen a bit of this so far. Another high dive one, so I actually wasn't able to catch this one at all.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I have subscriptions to both, so I catch all the high dive stuff as well.
Have been debating it with as much as I have been watching lately. So,
and so initially, and again, this is content warning here. But
hey, what's it actually like to be a middle schooler? You guys all remember how weird and awkward and just it was back in the day? Yeah, we're gonna make a show that.
Yeah, at one point they wanted to skip me ahead, and I told them, no, I'm already getting beat up enough as it is.
Yeah. Luckily, though, school days, that was really.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of High School Days?
Nice boat.
Yeah, the boat at the end, yeah.
Yep. Okay. So moving on. This was one I initially saw. I was like, oh, this is going to be some popcorn. And then kind of loved. Magical Maho Sojo Magical Destroys.
I can't say I've even heard of this one.
Andrew,
Oh,
if
I
you're in
think
chat,
yeah, you
love
posted
this.
something for it earlier.
So one thing I will say is this is the older style of Maho Sojo. If anyone's kind of familiar with the older compared to newer styles of that. Where all the girls are a little bit more punk.
I can't say I recall that being a thing in Maho Shoujo.
This is the 1980s Maho Sojo. We're talking era of Cutie Honey and a bunch of those.
Oh, yeah. I guess Cutie Honey would technically qualify as Maho Shoujo. Oops, I just realized I haven't
It
been
is.
showing this on the... I tended to not count Cutie Honey in the genre because it was clearly so adult-oriented.
No, that is actually the weird thing people forget about. Maho Shoujo used to be started as an adult content genre. I believe it was Sailor Moon that first popularized the middle school style. Or the, I should say middle school, but the younger style of Maho Shoujo. We're not just going to... Yep. This one does draw an interesting line because... Alright, so general synopsis. Otaku culture as a whole has been outlawed.
Okay. There's been a couple anime that did something like that, yeah.
Yep, the one that always jumps to my mind is the one with the girl wears the panties on her head.
That was really more the censorship thing, yeah.
I count those as censorship, banning this kind of culture.
The timing on that one was great because it did come out in the season right when they had implemented the new censorship laws.
I wasn't aware of that. But it's very interesting because this one does roll well. Honestly, it's like I did it. It's on Crunchyroll. It's only listed as Magical Destroys, but it was a Maho Shoujo going in.
Uh-oh.
That honestly doesn't pop up to the end. Oh, everything okay?
Oh, I was accidentally playing the wrong trailer.
I didn't realize that till the end, but it is very interesting because it starts off like, oh, well, this isn't like, it's like they're fighting in the pot. It's like, no, this is an actual goddamn war. It's like they're fighting a bunch of, what's the term? Owl? You've been waiting for it. What is that called again? Here, I'll just play it. Yeah. So all the villains have that face.
They have big movies.
No, they're a round ball head with that face, and they're like in stormtrooper armor. This is a very punk, very out there. If you want to watch something absolutely just stupid bonkers and like want to always kind of stick it to the, oh, I hate it when people look down on the things I like kind of, but it's like, hey, we like this kind of stuff because it's not just anime otaku. It's like they actually had like military otaku, wrestling otaku. It's like this is the otaku in the Japanese sense of the word, not just the anime fan.
Right, the otaku who is a nerd or geek who is very, very dedicated to a specific fandom or interest.
Yep. And it was interesting to see like, yeah, no, hey, there's some overlap with us, or we're all in this together. Heck, one of my favorite cute girls doing cute things is Girl and Panzer.
There's some things about the animation style of this and stuff that make me think of like certain Gainax anime.
That's honestly, I've heard that comparison quite a few times while looking into this. Who is doing this? This is
because it definitely has the vibes here and there from a few different things, like a little bit of Fooly Cooly, maybe. I definitely, sense a little bit of like Panty and Stocking.
yeah. All right, so the studio is Bibbery?
Oh, Billy?
No, Bibury.
Oh,
Let's
never
see
heard of
here.
it. I wonder if maybe they ended up kind of absorbing a few of the old Gynax people from like Bones or Madhouse or something.
It feels they're a bit of an older studio. They're known. They have done the what is it? Five Tubo no Hasuma, Azure Lane, Grasla, Phantom the Trigger. Oh, they did Black Rock Shooter. What the heck? What is this studio? Those are some older shows. Like they have a very small list. Director Ichitaka Hishiroshi. Let's see here. Known for
Well,
oh
Azureline's not that old.
oh okay yeah no wonder the director of this known for Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, Kill la Kill, Tenshin Toppo Gurren Lagann,
Yeah,
Black
Kill la
Bolt.
Kill and Gurren Lagann, yeah.
Oh, and Fooly Cooly Progressive. Yeah, okay, yeah. This is an old Gynax director here.
Okay, that definitely explains, like, because even the title really had that kind of old Gynax feel to it. Like the art style on the title itself.
Yep, which no, this is for honestly for me, this is going to be a show I will probably watch this to the end. This hit too many notes right on the head for me. Especially with that old Gynax edgelord feel. That I love punk. I love punk. It wasn't obvious from anyone with my 80s style channel.
Yeah, if it follows through with the kind of vibes I'm getting with that kind of, Gynax pedigree, then this could definitely be a very interesting watch.
Yeah. Especially the two main characters, I will say this, Otaku Hero and Anarchy is our two main
Because,
leads so far.
we didn't have a character that had anarchy in their name in Panty and Stocking.
No, technically we had two.
Yep.
Yeah, the director actually wasn't credited for that one, though, weirdly enough.
Yeah. Alright. There's a good chance, since they were involved in that other stuff, they may have had a hand in it as, like, a producer or something like that, rather than director, or may have at least had, influence, or been influenced by it just having been in the same studio.
Yep, well, that'll definitely be interesting. But this is a must-watch for me. For you, you're probably going to give, what, the 3-episode rule?
Probably, yeah. I'll definitely give it a decent shot. I'll just kind of go down the list on my side, I think. I don't want to accidentally miss things.
Oh, actually going in order. How
I
fancy.
know, right? I think I want to talk a little bit about Alice Gear Aegis. This one, I guess I can probably show the trailer to this without getting demonetized.
Well, you and your actual affiliate status. Wait, did I have this one up? All right, no, I had My Hero Home up twice. Okay, let's see here. That's the My Love Story with the level 99.
No, it's literally called Alice Gear Aegis. I'll get the.
Is it in link for that? Because I don't think you put.
It's in there.
Oh, I see it. I see. Yeah, it's under the. I was looking at the bigger list you sent me. The kind of want to talk about, not the must want to talk about.
Yeah. Well, I actually jumped back up to the things I've watched one. The kind of want to talk about just to get a few more things in there.
Oh, this is the video game version of that. Okay, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's part of why I sent you a trailer link. I almost made the same mistake. So, this is a anime that I have to say is a do not recommend.
Oh yeah, I've seen this. I've seen a bit on this. I was looking into it.
Yeah. So I've only watched the first episode so far, And all I can say is that the, the show seems to be based entirely around shameless fan service, which is fine, but it doesn't do a good job of it. So literally it's just like a swimsuit episode for episode 1, and it doesn't even achieve the clear goal of making the heroines attractive. It just has chaos happening with girls in swimsuits.
And it's very much, they all look very bland.
Yeah, the character designs really don't stand out. I mean, what I'm seeing in this trailer has nothing to do with what happened in episode 1 of the show. So, I'm very confused.
Alright, because the synopsis I ended up hearing for this one, because I have looked into this one. Just never got around to watching it. Unfortunately, High Dive is something I don't currently have. Was, this is a Knights of Sidonia style anime, where humanity is on spaceships and magical idol girls have to defend them.
Yeah, so episode 1 took place entirely on a beach, and was a game show of sorts that was going on, where the girls were like racing against each other, and for some reason ninja powers, and it didn't make any sense. It didn't get you invested in what was going on at all, and like there just was not any quality to the fan service that it was serving. So it's not overtly horrendously bad, but I definitely don't recommend it, and it definitely didn't seem to have any real redeeming qualities or anything to me when I watched it. It was very much bland and mediocre at best.
Which is, it's kind of sad, because it's, when I heard the Knights of Sidonia comparison with humanity on floating spaceships, like, oh, I love that. Like, once again, sci-fi. I love that kind of stuff. That's interesting. Oh, it's an idol where they fight that. It's like, okay, I also don't mind that. As a Mecha fan, all Mecha fans have to give Idol a slight slide, because we are responsible for spawning that genre. Thank you, Robot. Thank you, Macross. Oh, you think I'm joking? I am not. The evolution of Idol anime comes from Mecha.
Yeah. I'm well aware of the Macross Robotech thing. I mean, it is definitely possible, because I've only seen one episode of the show so far, that, you know, it will change and get more interesting later, but the one episode I did watch did not leave me wanting to watch any more of it. Similar to the show we talked about earlier, it feels like I will have to force myself to watch a second episode of this. Because episode 1, it was like the OVA that they would usually drop after the series ends, where you're expected to already know everything about all the characters and everything, and just enjoy the fact that they're in swimsuits. But it aired as episode 1.
Yeah, that's odd. All right, let's see. Who did this? Studio Nomad. Okay, that's not too familiar with that. Let's see, what do they know? Camphor, Rosen Maiden.
Well, Comfort was some hot trash, but at least Comfort, you know, when it as a fan service anime, it at least had a few decent fan service shots here and there.
Okay, yeah, this studio is known for like B to C grade to, God, I don't know any of these. I like straight up, I've never even like seen this stuff. Like, I would say D grade, like fan service anime.
Yeah, this seems to be like a video game tie-in series. For a video game I've never seen or heard of. And maybe that's why they just dropped you in, because they made the assumption that you've played the game? I don't know. But as an anime, it definitely doesn't stand well on its own from what I've seen so far.
All right, director is Hirokazu Hane, known for like Dean Angel, Tower of God, Chain Chronicles, and this anime, a couple other ones I've never heard of. So, oh, and Mira Nikki.
Oh, Mirai Nikki, huh? Interesting.
He's got the director has some good, some very top, like well done anime under his belt. So, hmm,
Maybe it'll take a sharp left turn. I don't know, but
I don't know. It's like I looked at the studio, got like, oh, this is gonna be trash. Looked at the director. I don't have hope.
it may be like polishing a turd syndrome.
Sometimes you can do good things with, but yeah. Okay, we all good on that one then.
Yeah, I think we're all set on that one.
Okay, let's follow theme for theme. What I did here, came across an anime original. What was this? The Marginal Service. The initial description of this looks like Men in Black, the anime. Well, it's very nice because it had a dark theme, a interesting service. Maybe not aliens, but something called Borderlanders, which are
Still that kind of underground MIB sort of organization.
they didn't turn into Power Rangers.
The Power Rangers? That's pretty far from MIB.
Yeah, if you did I post that?
Okay, I saw something that appeared to be a kappa. This feels like it might be from the same people who did, like, I'm forgetting the name of it, that series that takes place inside the human body.
Oh, Cells at Work?
Yeah, Cells at Work.
Oh, okay, let's see here. It's Studio 3HZ?
Never heard of them.
Known for The Devil is a Part-Timer, Sword Art Online Alternative.
Hey, Devil's a part-timer.
Black Fox. Dimension W. Princess Principal. All right, that's an interesting catalog.
Indeed. Kind of a weird mix of stuff, too.
Oh, director of this one is known for storyboarding Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, Re:Zero, Goblin Slayer.
So it could get dark, maybe?
Well, it's like if you watch the first half of that trailer, it looks very dark. And like I said, it had a lot of promise. And then about halfway through the show, it just lost me. Just utterly, like, it did this transition where it went from this dark, serious anime to, all right, rookie, you're now on the job for hunting down Borderlanders. Here's your partner. He hates you. He's not going to tell you anything. We're going to go to a bar and find them. And it honestly, it threw me back to my like days as a retail worker. Where like, well, you're hired. Go do your job. What's my job? Yeah, you don't know
Figure
yet?
it out.
Go figure it out. Well, it's like they go to the bar and it's like,
You said
all right,
you were
how
a
do we find them?
self-starter in the interview.
Well, it's like they like for the opening episode, like they go to like a bar to like where the drug they're trying to track down is at. And then the other guy like pulls out this like tablet. It's like, oh yeah, with this we can scan to find out who's actually Borderlanders. It's like, wait, why did and the other guy's like, well, why don't I have one of those? And the guy just looks at him angrily, like, shut up.
And, like, if that's your whole job is to find Borderlanders, and you have a thing that can just scan for them, doesn't that kind of defeat the entire, like, mystery of the hunt?
Well, it's a face recognition thing, so.
Ah, I see.
Yep. But it's like, they go, it's like, oh, hey, we found him. It's your former boss. Let's arrest him. Okay, not bad.
Well, some fantasy fulfillment there, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. But then it's like he goes and like corners his boss. Is like, all right, oh, you're gonna try to attack me? Self defense. Pulls out gun, shoots him in face, brushes it off. Doesn't give a damn about any of that.
Gotta say, there's one character in this trailer that has that, like, green hair, and it just looks like the hair was, like, 3D CG generated and then pasted onto the character's head.
Oh, I think I've got the picture of it up. I think it's seaweed on top of him.
It could be. It just looks very off and wrong.
Yeah, no, it's a. Well, here's the other thing. So after he like fights him for a couple of seconds, like tries to get a pipe, just not doing anything. Like the rest of his team shows up in like Power Rangers gear. And it's like, oh, how come you didn't bring your gear? I have gear. Looks at his partner. Wait, when did you switch to your gear? What the heck's going on?
Of course.
It's like you guys let him walk in there with a gun you knew couldn't do anything, and let him go toe to toe with like some Aztecian monster. I mean, like they have to pull out a bazooka to even start hurting this thing, and they were like, he was going hand to hand with it, and they were watching.
It's all a test. They're just hazing the rookie.
Well, it's like you also have to keep it like, oh, we also have to keep this secret. Pulls out bazooka.
Don't worry, Japan has great information blackout services.
Well, then, like it cuts to like their like the elderly team advisor and commander. He's staying outside the construction site, saying like, "Oh, there's a gas leak. Our repairmen are dealing with it. Don't worry." Explosion happens behind him. Everything's under control.
We got this. Don't worry.
It's just like, what? I'm sorry, what? I like the prep. It's like, and I was just so mad at like that middle part. I just could not get over that. Just why aren't you telling him what he needs to do his job? Like this is dangerous. Like were you all watching him get beat up? Why?
It be like that.
I'm sorry, it just took me out of like all the good scenes. And this thing had built up a lot of goodwill right at the beginning too.
So are you gonna give it the 3-episode rule, or is it just dead to you?
Honestly, how much it ticked me off. It feels like it's dead, but how like I'm talking about how crazy this show was. I'm talking myself back into it, but I don't think I will continue any more of this. Maybe if I hear some scuttlebutt like how much it picks up, but no, this is just a pass for me at this point. Oh, Prez, what the hell? I thought you already quit your stream. Wait, no, you did quit your stream. I was in Discord chatting with you. What the heck? Wait, did you raid and then restart stream? Oh, you did. You did another stream.
Rated and didn't end stream.
Oh, short second stream apparently. But yeah, no, thanks for the raid, Prez. It's always fun. We were with Yukikaze Gaming, and we are talking about some of the anime coming out this spring. We're just discussing magical. What the hell is this called again? The Marginal Service, which is a pass.
Well, next up from my side is Otaku Elf.
Oh god, okay. This is another one I haven't had a chance to watch, but was very much good. Can I get a link for that?
Absolutely. I'll get you the video URL
Tyler.
just a second. Yeah, and no surprise, because I kind of broke the list into like High Dive anime and Crunchyroll anime, so you're getting all the High Dive stuff up front.
Part of the reason I haven't seen any of this, then yeah. See, this definitely felt like a what were we calling it earlier? The healing anime. Yeah, that was what we're calling it.
Yeah,
Anyone in chat who would like to see the multi-stream?
it's a healing anime that is also kind of like a reverse isekai.
Yep.
Um,
Also, for anyone who would like to watch Yuki's Street Side, we do have the multi-stream up. Oh,
Hi, everybody.
thank you for the follow.
So I definitely had really high hopes for this one, because it looks very cute, and the reverse isekai concept definitely seemed like it could have a lot of appeal.
Those have
Whether
definitely
it
been
became a
very
healing
good.
anime or not, it's been kind of slow paced though, and I was expecting possibly a little more in the like fan service department maybe from the way it was advertised. This is not a fan service anime, so don't go into it thinking that. It's it's very character driven, and it's almost more of a slice of life than it is even a healing anime. The reverse isekai concept really doesn't come into play too much, except for the fact that the character is like 400 years old, and so they've been in Japan for a long time. But so far, at least as far as I've watched into the series, from what's aired so far, it really doesn't come up much that she's actually from another world, besides the fact that she has long ears. Which I feel is kind of a missed
Yeah.
opportunity. It's still decent, it's still watchable, but it's kind of mid-tier anime, really. It's not something that I would suggest if this is outside your genre or outside your relevant niche interests.
Yep. Oh, looking like a blob anime? Yeah, it's a moe blob. Yeah, one of the other comparisons I've heard about this one was, oh, who is that like yellow turd everybody hates?
Yellow turd?
Like yellow. Oh, what's she
Are you talking about
called?
the egg yolk character?
No, it's not like it's everyone like likes to. Yeah, Urama, I believe. Yeah, because I've heard the comparison. A lot of people like, oh, please don't be another her.
Hmm. I'm not really sure.
Let's see if I can look that up really quick.
Um, that yeah, that character name doesn't ring a bell.
Uramama Doma.
If I can.
Yeah, it's looked very interesting, but not. Oh, and thank you for the first time chat too, Raider. I should probably call more of those out. Oh, the problem with having a million tabs and things watching at the same time. No, so this was not too great. This just looked like Otaku Blob or Moe Blob to you.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of like I said, it's kind of middle of the road. It could use a little more oomph to it in some way. It's got a little bit of cuteness to it, but like it doesn't have the strength of character designs to push through on that alone. So it could use a little bit more something.
All right.
But it's not bad. It's definitely watchable. I plan to continue it. I just wouldn't say that it's worth going outside your comfort zone for.
All right. Done by C2C Studio, known for. Oh yeah, the anime that has the longest title ever. No, I bet you. World ends. What do you do at end of world? Are you busy? Will you save me? Full title for that one.
I will say the animation quality in it is decent. The biggest crime is just that it has a lot of lingering static frames, which might be part of why it feels kind of slow. But like the actual frame to frame character designs and stuff look nice, and the opening, ending. I can't remember about the opening, but the ending theme definitely does something interesting with the mix of 2D and 3D. That I think that element is worth looking at for people to at least look up the ending theme and take a look at that animation and what they did there, especially if you have an interest in like live 2D.
Yep. Director is Takifumi Aizi. Most generally only a storyboarder. This looks like his first full director credit.
That might also be contributing to why it feels like maybe the scenes linger a little bit too long sometimes and things like that. Because it really only takes a few fractions of a second here and there for you to get that feel from a series.
Yeah, which some directors could just knock that out of the park right away. Some of them,
Some
not
of
so
them
much.
Netflix it.
Yeah. All right. So on to the next one. This is you might have seen this one. Let's see, where is it? Dead Bound Death Play.
Deadbound Deathplay?
Yep, this is a play that one and it's a reverse isekai.
An all-new type of isekai, huh? Geek Toys Animation Production.
This also is a bit of a darker anime too.
I feel like the enemies leave a little bit to be desired. They're not the most atrocious CG I've ever seen, but they could definitely be better.
Well, the weird thing about the trailer is that trailer is like the first 5-10 minutes of the anime.
Mhm.
The rest of it takes place in Tokyo. Yeah, so the general premise is like the death god, the strongest necromancer in this fantasy world. I don't even remember the name. Is finally defeated by the hero, but before he died, he cast this massive reincarnation spell and is now reincarnated in our world.
I wasn't playing the trailer for my viewers. Oops, sorry everybody. Oh, Umaru? Oh, actually, I love Umaru-chan. Sorry, that was jumping back to a previous topic. I just saw somebody had mentioned it. And, thank you for the first time chat. Welcome, George313. Nice to meet you. Yeah, so, I mean, I saw some, at least in this trailer, some really nice camera work at one point. It is a shame, though, that you said this was from, like, the first 5 minutes, and it had that kind of mid-tier looking CG monster, because, you know, the first few minutes of a series, much like the first few minutes of a game, really set the tone for the viewer.
Yep. Devil is talking to chat here. Not so much Devil is a part, however, but worse. But this feels more edgelordy. So good or bad, depending on your style. There. As for CGI, like while the monsters themselves are bad, it's a lot of the magical effects do look good, and that does feel like what a lot more of the effects in the standard are going to be.
I will agree, the spell effects and things like that did look pretty good, and like I said, they did a great job with the camera work. There was probably CG at work there, but it wasn't noticeable. It's just too bad they couldn't apply that to the monsters as well. I get the sense they probably outsourced those for some reason.
Yep. From the way the anime feels, it feels like those aren't going to be a model they use a lot, so they didn't get a lot of love.
Yeah, fair, but also sad.
No, it's very understandable on that end. I'm an Overlord fan. I'd see bad CGI skeletons are a thing I hate. On top of that, though, this definitely feels like an anime I am going to at least. I will give this at least 3 more episodes. I will probably watch the rest of this because punk edgelordy reverse isekai with in a series where the main character is the old villain. I just love that.
What's this one airing on, by the way? Because I haven't seen this pop up anywhere yet.
This should be on Crunchyroll, if I'm not mistaken.
It's been hard for me to keep track lately because they keep adding so much of the back catalog from Funimation and stuff into Crunchyroll, as well as, you know, adding in, like, alternate language versions of stuff, so it really spams everything out of the newly added section and makes it hard to catch the shows that actually are new.
Yeah, just this is Dead Mountain Death Play. Like I said, this will be one to keep an eye on. So this could here I'll post it in the chat there. If this one can maintain its quality, maintain its rating, because why did this one stick out to me so much? Because Toy Studio wasn't big. Oh, right. That's why this one stuck out to me. The writer for the show. His 2 most notable works are Bakino and Durarara.
Oh, Durarara is definitely good stuff. Yeah, if they have anything like that going on, this will definitely be pretty solid.
Yeah, like both of those are really good. The director of this is known for uh Helsing, Overlord, Sword Art Online, Alicization.
Licization?
Yes, Full Metal Panic. Oh god, yeah, the director on this has some good work under his belt. Some dark stuff too, so
There's hope for it.
well, it's like this is one of those premises that oh, if you do this wrong, it's going to be bad. It's going to be just cringe in all the worst ways.
But if you do it right, it'll be really awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of that the elegance of shadow. Was it?
Oh yeah, the whole thing with like Shadow Garden and all that from last season.
Yeah,
Eminence and Shadow.
Eminence,
think it
that was it. Yeah, it's like, oh, that could have been absolutely horrendous, but they managed to hit the note so right. That it turned out
Yeah,
to
you
be
have to have
amazing.
just the right amount of self-awareness.
Irony is dead. Long live cringe. But no, this is and, like with this pedigree on behind it, and with it hitting the good notes right off the bat. I would say this is a watch for me. This will be something I definitely keep up on.
Interesting. Yeah, it definitely seems like something that I will at least probably give a try. Because, like I said, fantasy is definitely my thing. You did mention it kind of transitions almost immediately to Tokyo, which, could kill it for me, but we'll see. It's worth a shot.
It's imagine, like I said, it's a reverse thing. So imagine a Dark Lord getting teleported to modern day Tokyo.
Yeah, that's fair. Again, very devil of a part-timer, but it sounds like a more serious version of it rather than the kind of comedy bent that used.
I don't know if I would call Edge Lord serious, but yeah.
Well, taking itself more seriously rather than being an overt comedy.
Yeah, okay, I'll definitely give you that side of that, but okay here. Dramatic, yeah, dramatic's a good word for that. Okay, Yuki, what do you have on your list here?
Next up, I have Insomniacs After School, and I'll give you a link in my chat.
All right, this is another one I have heard of. And this was on a lot of people's watch lists. Let's see here. I'm also loving how you're basically covering all the high dive side. I'm covering all the Crunchyroll side.
We'll meet in the middle eventually. So, this series to me feels notable because it feels very genuine. It's one of those series where it feels like it really is kind of dealing with the real problems that these characters have. And rather than it being focused on being a specific genre of anime or something like that, it's more of an exploration of, their life. So it is kind of a slice of life romance thing. But it's the kind of work in that genre that doesn't feel like it's just a set of tropes. And it feels like it's willing to explore kind of the darker side of these characters and allow you to kind of grow within their secret lives a little bit. Also, the animation is quite solid. It definitely didn't leave me feeling bored at all visually. And although the character designs are a little bit on the plain side, they still felt very well rendered and very solid and very well selected for what it is that they're trying to do and embody.
Well, honestly, for a lot of slice of life, going a little bit more basic on your models is a good idea. I will definitely say that.
If you want the characters to feel more relatable and identifiable, then yeah, for sure. Having character designs that stand out a lot is great if you're trying to sell on the strength of your character design, but it's not as good if your goal is to make these feel like real people. Unless the person you're trying to make them feel like is just a very unusual person to begin with.
Alright, this is done by Lindy Films. It's a studio notable for Tokyo Revengers. Let's see what else on here. Kelly Bites, Cells at Work Black, Goblin Slayer Second Core.
Wait, there is a second season for Goblin Slayer?
Yes.
I did not know that.
One of the initial D movies. Actually, it looks like a lot of the initial D movies. Okay, then.
Oh.
And Berserk. Yeah.
Well. Wait, which Berserk?
Not the good one.
Oh, unfortunate. I hate that I have to ask that.
Well, there's 3 and 2 of them suck.
Yeah?
Or I should say suck. They're just not animated well. I was gonna leave that, but
Oh, thank you for the read, Milk. Welcome.
And director is Yuki Akita.
It wasn't me, I swear.
Let's see here. Have a bit of a storyboard. A producer has only ever directed.
Hi.
Oh, this is their directorial debut.
Well, they're doing a great job with it, I have to say. The scenes all felt good. There's a lot of really dynamic camera angles. You can see even just here in the preview that there's a lot of that going on. And while not every scene is like that all the time, it's kind of better that it isn't. They did a good job of using that kind of effect to make it the most impactful when it needed to be.
Yep. Well, they also have a good audience too. Like, what kind of how many anime nerds suffer from insomnia?
I know, right? What's going on? We are talking about this season's new anime, and discussing what we do and don't like about them, and giving kind of our recommendations on, whether these are something folks should maybe want to consider watching or not. This one I definitely would recommend. If you really hate slice of life and romance, then maybe you won't like it. But otherwise, I think it's definitely a good watch.
Yep. So that's part of the reason we actually have a good basis. I think we cover the 2 sides we don't like of the other one. Okay, but yeah, this does not look up as a person who does not like slice of life of that. While the Insomniac side of that is definitely interesting, I cannot say I'm interested for a lot of the other stuff going on here.
That's perfectly fair. I would still say, while you might not end up liking the rest of the series, the first episode was probably watchworthy, just because it does set up a few kind of interesting concepts with the character interactions and stuff. But again, if it's really not your thing, then not your thing.
Yep. So this won't win over any non-slice of lifey people.
It will probably win over people who are neutral on the genre, but not people who outright hate it.
All right. So moving on to our next one. Kabi Katsuwa. Let me post this up in your chat here. Right for this. This is this is one of the isekai coming out that really stood out in this season because God, there was a lot of generic one. Working for God in a godless world.
Oh, that one. Okay, yeah, this one I have seen and can weigh in on a little bit. One thing I will say up front about this one, having seen at least through the second episode, if you have a problem with lolly content in your anime, this is not a series for you.
Yeah, lolly, and I would also give some content warnings for
Fan service,
nice...
blood.
Well, it's the I'm trying to figure out the nice way so YouTube doesn't get mad at me, but the suicide aspect of this anime too.
Oh, unaliving yourself is the YouTube friendly term.
All right, yeah, unaliving yourself, but oh yeah, naked lolly. It's okay, guys. She's 1,000-year-old and possibly a dragon.
Well, dragon or not, definitely a goddess.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, actually, this might be a problem to even show on YouTube, even with the kind of built-in censorship.
Well, it's the trailer off of YouTube is the one I linked, so...
Oh, fair enough. Well, sorry, not YouTube, but Twitch. Yeah, so this scene shows up in episode 2.
Was that episode?
Or no, sorry, it was the very end of episode 1. Or, no, actually, this scene might have been the very start of episode 2. Like, part of it happens at the end of episode 1, and the other part in the start of episode 2, I think.
Okay, yeah, but... as someone who generally has had a unlikable relationship with religions, this was a very... this is going to be a concept that's going to be interesting for me. Although I will say, this is the most interesting way to get isekai I think I've ever seen in an anime.
Sacrificed by your dad to your god.
Bowed and thrown into a river, for God's sakes.
Yeah, left to drown. I think, likewise, conceptually, the series definitely had a lot to offer. And it still is continuing with that, I feel, because they have that whole thing set up with, how the way it's playing out, the atheism that they're encountering in the New World is arguably no better than the religion he came to despise from the Old World.
I feel like there's the argument of, atheism is a religion.
Certainly they've kind of framed it that way, at least within the weird sort of death cults that they have created within the isekai world.
I'll go with that.
So, there's definitely a lot of interesting concepts at play here. If you are someone who can get past the fact that it does include highly censored lolly content.
I don't know if I would call that censored. It's just like they don't add it in, so.
Thank you for the follow.
Done by...
Nice to meet you, Dizzy. And Milk2K says, hell nah, what the fuck?
Yep. Studio Palette? This is a... Alright, they have 3 other anime under their name.
I will say also, from the animation perspective, this show had really, really nice 2D animation and really, really bad 3D animation on the monsters for whatever reason. I almost felt like they were sprites that were lifted straight out of a mobile game.
I wouldn't even say that. Most mobile games have better 3D assets than that. Those were like that was like PS2 era BS there in the show.
Not quite that. I'd say PS3 era. I've definitely seen at least one show that had what I would definitely classify as PS2 era. This wasn't quite that bad, but it was still pretty egregious.
It wasn't too bad overall until episode 2 hits, which I have seen. They hard focus, like full screen focus on one of the monsters, and it's like, that looks awful.
Yeah, and like the little fox creature they keep showing isn't good, but it like you can kind of ignore it. Which is too bad, really, that it's that level of quality, since you're supposed to be, connecting with that creature, it turns out.
Yeah.
But again, the 2D animation for the rest of it, definitely a cut above average in terms of the 2D assets.
All right, so the other anime the studio is known for the other two anime they've made. The world's finest assassin gets reincarnated in another world as Aristocrat. Here's a light novel name. Quality Assurance.
I've watched that one. Sorry, what was the other one?
Quality Assurance in Another World.
That one I have not heard of before.
Okay, let's see here. Director for this, Yuki Inaba. This looks like another episode director getting his directorial debut. A lot of those this season. This is like almost everyone I've listed. It's like, this is the first thing he's ever directed.
Well, when you've got more series coming out than ever before, someone's got to direct them all.
I know, but you think I would at least see like one recurring name? What is like everybody on vacation right now or something? Or they're working on all the season 2s.
Yeah. Well, we did have a couple that it turned out they were, a director that was from
other series.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, what are we on to next then, Yuki?
Next, and I'll link it in my chat for you. Oops. What's going on with this? Get a shorter link. There we go. Okay. Next up is Too Cute Crisis. And this is the last one off of my High Dive list of shows.
Oh, okay, yeah. Once again, this is what I was looking at, but I actually got around to watching.
So, this one I was really concerned that it may not have, like, staying power, because the concept was pretty cute and silly of, like, aliens come to invade the world and decide not to destroy everybody because cats are so cute. But how you stretch that into, 12 episodes, I was a little bit concerned about. I'm still a little bit concerned about it, even having watched episode 2, although it's clear that it's going to turn into kind of like a comedy series at this point. Which is...
You don't say.
Yeah, which is fine. Like, it's basically an alien-based, pet-based sitcom coming down the pipeline. The animation, I will say, is a cut under par. It's definitely not the prettiest show around. It is a decent watch, though. Like, it's cute. And I don't just mean in the animals are cute kind of way. Oops. Accidentally gone into a different trailer.
Yeah, no, honestly, it's like when I heard the concept of it, of the Earth is saved because of our cat videos, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't stop laughing for a couple of minutes after that.
Yeah. There's also some... no, it's actually a full-length episode type of show. George313 was asking, is it a 12-minute episode type of show? Yep. And as far as I recall, it is a full 24-minute episode show. And there's definitely some sitcom-y situations that pop up with, like, use of alien technology and things like that. Also, I have to say, as a pet owner and a supporter of stray animals who, has worked to do catch and release and things like that, there was definitely some catharsis in seeing a character call down an orbital strike on a bad pet owner.
Yeah, it's like this definitely feels like a comedy that was either going to live or die, how well they could stretch out their premise.
Yeah. And it looks like, what they're doing is kind of gradually introducing some more characters and stuff, so it might turn into a little bit more of like a character-driven sitcom comedy, which is fine. If it can keep the plot premise going that way, then great.
Yep, if they could pull off a Sergeant Frog style thing, it should definitely be able to hold its own.
It would be nice if the animals were actually a bit cuter, but you can tell they already used a very significant portion of their limited animation budget on the animals, and trying to kind of, capture the behaviors at least that make them cute to people. So, is what it is. They're working within their limitations. I would say that this is a good watch if this is the kind of show that appeals to you. If you like these kinds of sitcoms and, something that's somewhere between like a sitcom and a healing anime, then this will probably be up your alley. But if you don't like these kinds of, outlandish premise feels, then this is probably a skip for you because there's nothing to really directly pull you in terms of the animation or sound or anything like that.
All right, the studio on this is Synergy SP, which, gosh, I feel like there's, I would say these are all brand new studios, but I've seen like a lot of them do like side work. Let's see here.
I think we're seeing a lot of that, just like we're seeing a lot of new directors, we're seeing a lot of studios branch off and try to do solo work for the first time, because I think there's just so much demand, and especially with, additional funding coming in from places like Crunchyroll trying to secure series for their platform, we're seeing everything kind of explode. But we're also seeing those growing pains from all the studios expanding too quickly and not really having the veteran people that they need to be able to make everything a huge success.
Yeah, because I'm looking at this studio's list and it's like Initial D, Final Stage, Fifth Stage, Cross Game, Major a baseball game, Mar, which is a early 2000s, older Beyblade stuff. Like a lot, like apparently all the Beyblade stuff. I scratched that. Yeah, it's like this is an older studio that just doesn't. This looks like one of their first bigger solos. And director is Jun Hattori, known for, let's see here, storyboarder on a lot of things. Director and Tosha Oto Fairy Tales, or only previous director credit, which I don't know that one, so nothing big. A storyboarder on Megalobox was the only thing that really stuck out.
That one was pretty popular, at least.
It was very well done. But so is this going to be going to give it a couple more episodes to see if the premise wears out, or do you think you'll be on this one all season?
So far, it's looking like I'll probably stick with this, but we'll see what happens in episode 3. If it does end up, tanking after they introduce these new characters, then it could lose me. But as it stands, it feels like they're probably moving in a decent direction to kind of draw out the plot premise and make things viable throughout the course of the series.
Okay, yeah, because I do have a problem with a lot of these comedies. I need a narrative, a through line for most of the time. Like even Spy X Family, when it got too slice of lifey for me, I was like, I'll binge this at some other point. But
this one might lose you then because it does spend a significant portion of the time having characters just kind of ooh and ah over the animals. but at the same time, anyone who is a pet owner will very much relate to the feelings of these characters.
Yep. Okay, so ready to move on then?
Mhm.
All right, let's pull. This is the one I was probably the most excited for non-returning anime. Mashal, Magic and Muscle.
Ah, yes, you mentioned this one. I did not end up getting a chance to watch it because I ended up going to that tournament today.
Yep. Well, this is one of the 3 Shonen Jump anime I've been waiting to get animated.
I'm trouble copying that link for some reason. Oops. Oops. Ah, no! Okay, well, that works. Not how I meant to do it, but it'll do. Visible for people? Yeah, no?
シュークリーム皆が当たり前のようにシュークリームを作り
So, this one I was kind of judging it entirely based off of the little thumbnail on Crunchyroll, and I was really on the fence about whether or not it would be something I would end up enjoying, because shonen series can be very hit or miss for me, and even though it's fantasy genre, I was seeing some elements of the character designs that had me kind of worried for my preferences.
Now, the way a few other people have described this is, what if Saitama went to Hogwarts?
I am getting a bit of that feel from the trailer here, yeah.
Yeah. I would say Black Clover, a more comedic Black Clover would be a better comparison.
Yeah, and that's kind of what more where the character designs were leading me into that kind of series. And that had me a little worried. Because especially the less well done shonen anime don't usually really grab me.
Yep, the one thing I will say is, this isn't a shonen action anime. This is a shonen comedy. Through and through.
That's good to know. That definitely makes this more appealing to me.
Well, I will say, like, I would like the best anime comparison is Black Clover. Are you familiar with the Cyanide and Happiness show?
Yes.
The Adventures of Lunk would be the best comparison I would make to this.
Adventures of Lunk. So I'm familiar with Cyanide and Happiness, but I am not a regular viewer, so that may just be a reference I'm not quite getting.
All right, it was a lot of the earlier work. It was an ongoing bit they had.
Gotcha.
Basically so the basic premise is everyone in the world has magic. Everybody is a wizard, except for the main character, the only one on the whole planet who can't use magic.
Okay, so it's kind of the wizard equivalent of My Hero Academia at the start.
Well, the only thing is, he lifts instead.
Fair enough.
And when I mean he lifts, I mean he could bench press a small city block probably.
Yeah, so it's Hercules enrolls in a magic academy.
While having to pretend he can use magic with his enormous strength. Oh yeah, one of the weird darker aspects that they start with in this is, oh yeah, no, everybody has magic, and if they don't, we kill them as babies.
Oh, okay, they go full Sparta on them.
Yes. Which is a plot thread that does pop up every so often.
So,
which
a weird eugenics undertone to this comedy anime.
Yep. Which honestly, it would be a bigger deal if, like, oh, the main character was like, I have to. He honestly does not care in the least. He just wants to sit around, live with his father, and eat cream puffs.
Hi, Loot Boxes, welcome. Thanks for joining.
Yep. The only reason he even enrolls in the Magical Academy is because he screws up one day going into the city, getting to get cream puffs. Yes, cream puffs will be a big thing in this. So You will have your sweet tooth tested. And accidentally gets discovered. So the police come to kill him,
Ooh.
and well, they realized, oh, this person could literally punch us to the moon.
One of these
Let's
days,
not do
Alice.
that. So it goes to this whole thing of like, oh, hey, if you could become like the valedictorian mage, nobody will be able to argue with you at like this prestigious magic academy. And so far, it's like, if you could get behind slapstick comedy, this is a series I do highly recommend. I have been reading the manga for quite a long time. I think Super Eye Patch Wolf did a video on this.
Or Eye Patch Wolf, huh?
Yep.
Interesting
Oh,
name.
what's that, Joe? Oh, you might drop Crunchyroll for High Dive. Just learned most of the fair animes exclusively. Yeah, High Dive has a very good selection this season. I will say that, especially if you are a slice of life fan.
That said, their selection does remain a lot more limited than Crunchyroll's. Crunchyroll is probably putting out at least 3 or 4 times as many anime this season as High Dive is. And the prices are relatively similar for the two. So, kind of, like, I definitely recommend High Dive as a service, especially because it's the only one that's not owned by Sony now. But
well, there is also Amazon, and weirdly enough, Disney Plus has like probably the darkest anime coming out this season is coming out on Disney Plus.
well, I should say of the dedicated anime platforms. But yes, you are correct. There are some shows on the other more mainstream platforms like Netflix and things like that as well. Those like all of them tend to release in ways that are significantly, substantially different from the dedicated anime platforms, though. Like, of course, with Netflix, they have that tendency to wait until the entire series is ready to release all at once for binge watching purposes, which really irritates people.
Yeah, it looks like Disney Plus is also going with that method, because I know the anime they had on theirs. I was looking for it, and it says it's aired up to episode 3, but it's not on their streaming service yet.
Yeah, and then the services like Hulu and Amazon tend to either get stuff later after it's already been successful on other platforms, or what they get is like really, really old stuff, or things that just kind of like fell through the cracks and nobody else licensed it.
Yeah, but no, this one has been a shonen one. It has been going really well at the Shonen Jump magazine. Or is this online only? Can't remember if this is shonen online only. I'll look into that later. But who was the studio behind this one? I swear I pulled it up. All right, A1 Pictures. So this is a pure A1 production. But the director A1 like always does support. Like I feel like I rarely see them do a solo anime anymore. Tomio Takanaka as the director, which what? Let's see here. Once again, looks like an episode director and storyboard director who's finally getting a. Oh nope, he has one other directorial thing under it. Engage Kiss. Which I have never heard of before, so
that was that was from like 2 seasons ago, actually. The animation in it was really good. It had a couple funny moments too, but overall, the plot was kind of middling.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of those are kind of on that list. But yeah, no, this is a must watch for me this season. Like when I heard this was finally getting its adaptation, I was very much behind it. All right, what do you have next, Yuki?
Up next, I have a Galaxy Next Door. I'll give you a link for that.
Anything else? I feel like I've heard everything coming out this season, but
This one is a Crunchyroll production. Or rather, it is being released on Crunchyroll.
アシスタントの
So I'm, I think, 2 episodes into this, and I'm still not entirely sure exactly what's going on in it. But in general, it's a, like, slice of life romance about a manga author, and a huge fan of his who becomes his assistant.
すみません公式さん
okay, yeah, wait, I never remember watching this one again.
Who then also claims to be the princess of the Star People.
キーペン刺さってる
What? What?
Yeah, and apparently he, like, soul bonds himself to her accidentally. So now if he gets, like, too far away from her, he immediately falls ill. And if he does anything that displeases her, it causes him immediate physical damage.
What?
It's still not entirely clear exactly what all this means, because they're kind of explaining it to the audience as they gradually explain it to the protagonist. But the sort of short version, appears to be that she's from, some secluded island where her family is treated as kind of royalty of sorts. And that there was some kind of meteorite that fell there a few generations back, that maybe has caused some strange mutations, but at the same time they've created their own sort of fantasy lore to help explain this to children?
What?
Yeah, like I said,
Okay, it's like,
すみません公式さん
it's definitely like a slice of life romance anime, but then there's also this whole weird subplot thing going on that I still am not entirely clear on what all is happening there. That definitely adds some interesting flavor to it.
okay, that's a lot more interesting than the synopsis I had heard from this thing so far, because this very much looked like, oh, it's a manga writer writing about manga, which, okay, that could be kind of interesting, but you really need to go into the minute details on that, and this looked like it wanted to be a rom-com, but okay, weird sci-fi side, that's a much better hook.
Yeah,
might actually
I mean,
give
it
this
is
a try
minor
now.
spoilers, but it does have that weird sci-fi fantasy twist to it, on top of the basic element there. And it's not as focused on the manga element as I'm trying to blank on that series name now. Aoi something. Can't
Are you
remember.
talking about the one where the guy gets the manga from the future and plagiarizes that?
No, there was one a few years back that was just straight up about a manga author and like followed him as he, tried to become a popular artist and make it into like their version of Shonen Jump and everything. This doesn't go nearly that deep into the manga element of it. It's more focused on like the relational interchange of the fact that this is like a 17-year-old guy who is doing shoujo manga to support his 2 younger siblings, and then ends up meeting this fangirl.
Okay then.
But there
Alright,
is just
so-
enough focus on the manga element that if you have an interest in manga and the way that anime and manga are made, it will probably give it a little extra flavor and appeal for you.
All right, yeah, because that was originally going to be the big pull for me, but I don't know. The other weird aspect of it's also like, oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, like I was expecting it to be more about the manga element myself. It's not that it ignores it entirely or anything like that, but it doesn't go so deep into the technical aspects that you need to have a avid enjoyment of that to enjoy the series.
Okay. So the last 3 shows I want to talk about are 2 that haven't aired yet and 1 that is a sequel. So I would like to hold those off. So what else do you have?
Okay, I've still got quite a few, I think, actually, to go through here.
Okay, Jesus. Maybe I will throw mine in there just to talk about them a bit. But
Sure, yeah.
let's do another one of yours.
Let me grab you trailer link here.
Because the slice of life do seem to be the popular ones.
Well, I haven't even gotten to the extensive list of isekai yet.
Oh, is this?
This one is My Love Story with Yamada-kun at level 999.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, I've seen a bit on this one.
So, of course, because this one is video game oriented, it caught my attention because I'm a gamer. But it is more of a romance-driven anime that uses gaming as kind of the backdrop for character interactions. It is not an isekai, but some of the scenes do take place in-game.
Honestly, I was kind of getting I don't like getting hurt, so I put all my points to the defense vibe.
Yeah, in terms of the way that they do things a little bit, most of this show takes place in the real life side of things, whereas that one's mostly in-game. So you get just like an occasional interaction that happens in-world where they show her little like chibi avatar.
This is another Crunchyroll, so. All right, yeah, it literally looks interesting. I do like the fact that we are getting writers and directors who are actually gamers, know the culture.
Yeah, it's definitely a step up when it feels like it understands its own material. Oh no, I've gone into a different series or something again. There we go. But
JoJo saying, Jory, this could go in 2 different directions, and by what I'm seeing, I'm scared.
So far, it's felt to me like a pretty wholesome kind of romance anime. I have been enjoying it just for that pure aspect to it. I'm not exactly sure where it's going to end up, but I have a pretty good idea that this one's probably not going to have any really major twists or turns. I think this is going to be relatively by the numbers, kind of romance, if not reverse harem sort of anime.
I'm always interested, especially for stuff that like you see like gamer culture that actually explored, because I always hate seeing like the relationship side of like, oh, I pulled him out of the gaming world, so now he's actually in the real world. When it's like, no, like, well, a lot of us like living in here. Like, we have communities, we talk to people, we connect, just in weird ways compared to you.
Yeah, so this one's notable for being kind of the opposite of that. It starts off with you finding out that the main character started playing this game to play it with her boyfriend, and then he dumped her. So, but now she still hangs out, and plays the game because, she has a sense of community with her guild members, and it's, something for her to kind of fall back on. as she's dealing with this breakup, which feels to me like a very realistic use of gaming in that regard.
Oh yeah, gaming, building community. Like I said, it's I, as a gamer, it's like no, like we have communities. I have friends. It's like oh, those aren't real. It's like okay, yeah, they're not IRL friends, but you can still get a lot of support and a lot of friendly interaction with people on your guild houses and stuff like that. I know
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 14 has been a very helpful game for me, like in dark times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes the reality is that some of these bonds that you form with people in online games are much stronger than the casual bonds people form just meeting somebody at a bar or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting if it goes on that aspect. I might actually give this one a try on that, and then it's pulled in the non-rom-com guy.
Yeah. Also, the main character is or not the main character, but the main love interest of sorts here is also a pro gamer, and has like an FPS guild that he works with professionally, and that starts to pop up in the plot more around episode 2.
Oh yeah, no, it's like yeah, this could be a job.
Mhm.
We can only dream. We can only dream.
But
But
yeah,
okay.
I think this is definitely one of the ones to watch. If you really really hate romance stuff and you hate video games, then maybe it's a skip for you. But otherwise, I feel like this one is pretty
I mean, at
solid.
that point, why are you watching anime? But okay. Oh, okay. Let's go into one of the ones that isn't airing. This one isn't. The trailer for this. I'll post this on Discord for you. Um, this is a Netflix jail, unfortunately.
Oh no. So, Heat Death of the Universe, we'll see this one come out.
But this is the same studio that brought us Devilman Crybaby Baby and oh, I forget what the other big one they did. Don't Bully Yzma, or it's the one about the animation. Like go over this time. There is just so much to watch. It, and once again, this is Netflix. This is the studio that brought us, like I said, Devilman Crybaby. So we know they can just go hard. Like there is no shackle on this thing. But that's the thing I was gonna say with Tezuka's work. It's he. While there is a okay, especially if you get Dark Horse on that or Top Cow, I'll definitely enjoy that. But yeah, no, Vampire Hunter D, especially that is the other thing because all the Vampire Hunter D anime are fairly old at this point, and there are a lot of newer audiences that probably have no idea who the heck that is.
Yeah, which is also really sad and depressing in its own right, because it is very, very amazing. Like, I really feel, especially the first Vampire Hunter D, really earned its place as a classic because it just did so much with what was available at the time as something that was produced in the pre-digital era.
Yeah, I'm still. I used to own the VHS set for that. I'm still kicking myself for getting rid of it.
I was actually really mad at myself for upgrading to the Blu-ray from the DVD because it turned out that the Blu-ray version, they didn't have the rights to the same dub that they had on the DVD. And
Oh
so
dear God!
you got like the British dub or something, and it just it throws me off so bad. I hate it.
Oh, okay. But yeah, no, this is like I said, this is something I'm definitely looking into. It's because anytime because once again in Japan, there is that reverence for the old guard, the classics, the ancestor, and Tezuka is very much in that in the Japanese anime industry,
That
like
is
the
totally
oldest of
understandable,
old
yeah.
guards. So generally, anything he does, yeah. So let me sorry rephrase that. Anything from his old catalog generally gets a lot of love.
Yep, that's definitely good. I really like to see that that old influence lives on, and that there is that respect for the things that made anime great in the first place, and that that sort of shed their blood, sweat, and tears to make the art form what it is today for us.
Yeah, because definitely Western animation hasn't done that in a long minute. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like mostly all Western animation's been doing lately is iterating on their 3D engines.
The independent YouTube stuff's at least been starting to pick up.
Yeah, well, and also, I mean, I suppose if you're looking at series instead of movies, we're seeing a little bit of a renaissance in terms of like the Owl House and stuff like that. But it's all very heavily stylized.
Yep. Well, not on Disney anymore. Owl House. They said they're. Well, we'll see how good the ratings go for continuation on that. But they said they're going to end the era of all their serialized cartoons.
Yeah, we may that may be coming to a abrupt closure here.
Oh, so sad. So sad. Although they did just pick up Moon Girl. Is that not a serialized show?
I don't.
But we'll see that. But okay, on to our next one.
Yep. Next up I have Rokudo's Bad Girls.
Oh, I think this was on my list to watch.
I dropped the link in the chat for you for the trailer.
Okay, yeah. If this is what I think, yeah, this is what I thought it was.
Yeah. So this one's definitely heavily in the comedy genre. I wouldn't even classify it as harem, even though there is a harem element to it. Because, well, in harem anime, the protagonist is often, unwilling. In this case, he is almost more of a straight-up victim. That said, there are some weird lolly vibes going on from one of the characters starting in episode 2. It remains unclear how that is going to be handled, so if you are someone who has a zero tolerance for that kind of thing, even though the character is, as far as I can tell, supposed to be the same age as the other character, you may want to do a pass on this one. I would... Yep, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's like, I know I was hearing a lot of people discuss like, oh, this looks ugly. I don't like the way this designs. It's like, I don't know if it's from being an older anime fan, but it's like, I really do. I actually kind of liked it. I hate how so many anime look clean, generic, and basic. It's just standing out like that or doing an older style really feels good to me.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't say that these are attractive character designs, but I don't think they're meant to be. And based off of that, I'm okay with the direction that they went on this. Because, for instance, the blonde character that you see, she's not meant to be pretty. She's not meant to be beautiful. And so I think it's okay if the art style reflects the fact that she is not meant to be a sex object of sorts, right? I think it's okay if it uses more of that messy, kind of unique style that it uses, and not be hung up on the character being marketable as a waifu.
Jojo, I don't mind the cat. Looks pretty good. The premise just sounds weird. Yeah, I guess the harem of the first, not as fans of harem in the first place. Yeah, the premise is kind of interesting. Like, oh no, all the bad girls now like me. Oh, it's like there's the guy here. Like, that is a bit like, oh, it's such a horrible problem. Screw you.
Well, in this case, the protagonist is someone who's been bullied by these people the entire time, and rather than it turn into like a wish fantasy fulfillment thing where he's suddenly, thrilled that all these girls that have been picking on him are throwing themselves at him, he is terrified and appalled that they are pursuing him. I mean, there's definitely some things that could also be said in terms of the plot device used in this when it comes to things like consent and things like that that are a little bit iffy. I overall, I would say that this one it pulls off its humor decently. It is kind of funny. I'll probably continue to give it a chance at least. But initially, I did have reservations over the art style and the basic plot premise that had me very worried that this isn't something I would really want to watch much of. We'll see how episode 3 pans out, but it might be watchable if it doesn't get too weird.
Yep. So, yeah, general premise, if anyone wasn't aware, was bullied kid gets ancient scroll from family that's supposed to repel demons, but in modern day makes it so it attracts bad girls.
As far as I know, it actually was never a demon repelling scroll. His family is one that dates back very far in terms of onmyoji, which are exorcists. But the scroll itself, from the way they described it in the anime, was always intended specifically for this purpose.
Oh,
However,
okay.
he did not activate it intentionally. He just kind of found it and was like figuring out what it did, and then it activated itself.
Okay. Oh, chat saying art style reminds kind of looks like Nanabaka. I know that
Nanabaka.
one.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Let me take a look at that real quick. See if I can see that. Oh, this is okay. I don't know this one, but yeah, no, I can see the style resemblance here. Okay, all right, now to the one apparently in the I'll post that in Discord again. Because I gotta pull this up on mine too. All right, ready to switch over to the one of the other ones I had that hasn't actually started airing in the US yet. Because Disney Plus Stars original? I'm afraid it's because of story naming.
Well, no, not stars. Star. Singular.
Oh. Well, great naming sense there.
So what service is this one set to air on? Oh, you said it was
Plus.
Disney. Yeah.
So the premise for I can understand on this one is the world's been left ruined by destructive monsters, and we're following a girl who's trying to get to a sacred garden that can that protects you, and she's one of the few people that has the power to kill said monsters.
I saw something that looked suspiciously like the moon from Zelda's or Majora's Mask in one of the drawings in the background.
Yep. Well, one of the big drawings has been like a glowing eyeball. The other interesting part is we actually see the side from the hidden safe zone too, which is a bunch of kids being guided by robots and like a bunch of elderly teachers who all kind of want to get out into this world. So like that side's giving us Promised Neverland, while the other side's giving us
Interesting. Something about how that creature moved felt very like Spirited Away.
Is there anything else?
But then other parts of this I'm getting like mild Akira vibes.
Maybe this is streaming and I just have I don't know, Disney Plus is really weird for viewing their mature content.
This is true, yeah. it is sometimes difficult
In the
to
magic realm,
catch that, because of the way that they sort of censor it and hide it away on you.
Which I don't know why they wanted to pick this, because I don't think I know very many other anime on Disney Plus, and I don't know why this one's on there. Especially with it being such a hard, dark R anime.
Yeah, strange choice. But, you know, the world of licensing behind the scenes is a strange and complex beast sometimes.
Such a weird series. But no, this one it looked interesting, and if I remember correctly, let me look up the studio for this. There was another. I remember looking at this. Was like, there's something. This looks interesting, and there was something I saw that pulled me into it too. I just gotta. See if
It
that was, like,
has
a
the feel to
studio.
me of, like, anime for people who aren't into anime, which maybe is why Disney picked it up.
That's an IG again, so we'll see on that. But not seeing a director on this. I'm seeing 3 different producers, but no director. I don't know. It might just be the premise on this one that was pulling me in.
Production ID is a pretty well-known team. They've done some stuff.
They generally err on the darker side too, which we'll see on that. But no, this definitely looks to be interesting. I'm going to double check my Disney Plus, see if I can actually watch this now, because this should be on like episode 3 at this point.
That's fair. Okay, next up I have Cafe Terrace and its Goddesses.
Oh, okay, yep. This is the
3年ぶりか
So, I probably won't talk too much about this
やっと
one.
くたばったのか
It's a relatively generic, harem anime with strong fan service.
yeah. There it is.
Obvious plot.
ここは俺
But what I will mention about it is it's one of the few series I've seen this season
バカにしたや
that
つ
is fan service based and actually does the fan service well. I feel like this is probably from the same people who did the quintessential quintuplets, if I had to guess, because it's very, very similar in a lot of respects.
Kind of giving off that mid 2000s harem anime feel.
Yeah, it has those kinds of vibes, yeah. I would say this one doesn't really stand out, but if you are a fan service fan, and you're looking for something that actually has, you know, serviceable fan service this season, this might be where you want to look. As for the story and everything, it seems to be mostly just a vehicle for getting these characters under one roof, so, don't go in it for the plot, go in it for the quote-unquote plot.
家族だと思ってくれこのお店に来るお客さんは
Oh, okay. Guy talking about the previous one. Oh, right. The director, Kumi Miura, worked on IQ and Psychopath. Okay, yeah, that's why.
この店を救う女神かそれとも店
No,
を
this
潰す
one,
貧乏
yeah.
神なのかどちらにしても
Oh,
本当に
it should be-
と関わってしまった
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's like, this reminds me a lot of like the stuff I watched as a teenager. Like, oh yeah, I love the fan service. Yeah, that was about it.
Yeah, I would say when it comes to this one, I lost my train of thought.
If you want more basic harem from the early 2000s, have that old classic itch to scratch, but don't want to go back and watch Love Hina, give this a try.
Yeah, there is like a little bit of a subplot going on, but it's really nothing to write home about. I don't think it's got a whole lot of merit outside of the fan service aspect. Oh, I remembered what I was going to say. One notable thing is for people for who this is important, and I know there are many, most, if some at least, if not all of these girls are college age, not high school age. So there's that to be noted. If you are someone who is put off by the fact that most harem and fan service anime tend to be high school girls and frequently are underage, then this might be some place where you can look for some at least technically legal adults.
Yeah, it depends on what state you live in. I am joking. Don't take that seriously, anybody.
Strong DGen hours.
Ugh. It gets worse when you realize the age of consent in Japan's 14.
Yeah,
Federally. I know districtly it's a little bit better, though.
yeah. There's a lot going on there too, and their age of consent is different for Japanese citizens with Japanese citizens than with outsiders, which is interesting.
The fuck?
Yeah, the age of consent, if it's a Japanese citizen with a non-Japanese citizen, is higher than if they are both Japanese citizens.
Yeah, that's a really weird rule, and while I don't know how to feel about that, I am curious as to know how that rule came to be.
Yeah, it feels kind of xenophobic, which, actually kind of tracks with a lot of Japanese culture. But I think originally it was intended to preserve the ability for a lot of the, like, really old families that had really traditional marriage practices to be able to continue doing their kind of arranged marriages the way that they always did. While also protecting against, like, sexual tourism. I think. I'm not an expert on this.
Yeah, it's a very weird and awkward subject that, honestly, politicians, as bad as they are, seem to make it worse somehow. No matter which side you're on, but okay. Next trailer, please.
Yes. Okay, this one is, I think the last of the ones that get, like, really into weird territory for this season.
I'm not sure what you
pull that
define by weird, because so far I feel like I've been weirder. Yours just been more like,
Well,
how legal is this?
yeah. I mean that type of weird.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. So, of course, with a title like My One-Hit Kill Sister, as you can guess, this does get into some pretty strong, brother complex incesty vibes. So if that is not your deal, definitely not the series for you. That said, it is mainly a comedy, and it is not very graphic at all, for the most part. That scene apparently notwithstanding. But the main character, female lead, I should say, despite her skimpy outfit, they actually, for the most part, show very, very little contact between these characters. Mostly, it's like cutaway gags, where as soon as something's about to happen, the camera will, like, shoot up into the sky or something. But as you can see, there is a little bit of fan service mixed in, and some of it is very clearly brother-sister. So if that is something that bothers you, definitely don't go here. On the other hand, if the concept of an isekai where the main character is not at all powerful and instead has to have somebody else protecting them is something that appeals to you, which, to be fair, has also been done before, then this might be worth checking out for you. The animation quality is pretty good. The attacks and combat do look decent. So, there's definitely a reasonable attraction here for general fantasy genre fans. In terms of, like, high fantasy RPG style stuff. But oops. Yeah, again, if you have problems with the sister who is constantly aggressively lusting after her own brother as a concept, steer clear of this.
Yeah, honestly, this kind of looked like what was it? My mother and her overpowered string attacks, whatever the heck that one was
2-hit
again.
or multi-hit attacks or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, this looked like the Oni-sama version of that.
A little bit, yeah. I'd say the animation is better in this, but fundamentally they're very similar series concepts. Okay.
Alright, so JoJo, yeah. You have sisters, and it's like, yeah, it doesn't bug you, but you don't like the non-consent, and it's fiction, so it doesn't bug you as again. Yeah, I can. Someone who has a lot of sisters myself, it's like that's weird. I don't know if it bugs me, but that's still weird. Now, the only question is, normally they make a big point in saying not related by blood or stepsister.
They do not do that at all in this series, at least not so far.
Yeah, no, that was like the big, because it's like, oh, this is like my stepsister, or like.
Yeah, we're not related by blood, so it's fine. But no, not this one. This one just leans into it hard, as far as I can tell. Maybe it will turn out later in the series that they're not technically related or something, but from everything that they've said and shown so far, these two are blood relatives.
But maybe they'll be adopted. Oh, we can only hope.
Yeah, sometimes you get to that episode 10 plot twist. But usually that's only, in this kind of series at least, an excuse to allow them to take it even further.
Yeah. Yeah, the Dojin will fix it either way.
Alright, so I've got another one queued up, unless you had something else.
I only have one, and it's a sequel. I'll save that for the very end here.
Okay.
Because I'm going to go off on that one pretty hard, probably.
Alright, this one is, Yuri is My Job. This one's a little different. So, this setting, it's actually set in contemporary modern-day Tokyo, and the characters are all, waitresses at a cafe that is themed as though it is set in a shoujo-ai romance. So they pretend, while they're on duty, to be deeply in love with each other. But for instance, the main character, who is the blonde that we're seeing on my screen currently, and the girl that she is hugging, the other girl actually hates her vehemently, as we just see here.
Okay, yeah, so... Oh, if I remember correctly, whose studio is this? Yep, it's those guys. It's Studio Passion.
This is one of those press-ganged into servitude kind of deals, where she accidentally bumped into somebody and hurt them and is now being forced to do their job for them. So, yeah, it's a little bit different from the other romance anime. I don't know if it's going to develop into an actual romance anime, or if it's going to continue being this, like, adversarial relationship that we see. But if you're a fan of, these kinds of the room explodes into flowers when two girls gaze at each other deals, then this'll probably be the series for you this season.
Well, also, the reason I brought up Studio Passion is, they're too notable. I'm not going to go into their entire work, but the two that kind of set the tone are Citrus and High School DxD. So,
this is more of a Citrus than it is a High School DxD, but I would say it's not really anywhere near as graphic as either of those.
Yet.
So far there's been no hint of there being any nudity whatsoever in this. I mean, obviously there's some, not entirely, platonic hugging involved, but, yeah, there's really been not much in terms of, direct fan service.
You're saying Citrus? Yeah, Citrus was pretty good. It's looking more moe blob than romantic drama. I would see on that one. Is this a watch for you, or is this a something to keep an eye out for? Maybe binge later.
This is it's okay, but it's not really a hard watch for me. This will probably be, whenever I've caught up on everything else, I kind of watch it a little bit to see how it develops. It won't be like a binge watch, but it's kind of a lower priority on my list.
Yeah, this is for me. This is probably good. I'm depending on how good I hear about it, I might binge this later, but this will not be something I pick up myself.
Yeah, it could end up being interesting if the characters, really continue to develop down this path of like hating each other, but also having to act like they really like each other. But I suspect we're going to see it go the other direction, where they'll eventually start growing closer. And I think it'll end up probably turning into like a female protagonist.
Yep.
Harem anime of sorts.
Yep. And also, love it. We bring up the Yuri anime, and also the viewer count skyrockets. God, yep. Nope. I know what you degenerates are here for, but also, yeah, JoJo. A few years ago, I'll be all in, but last Moe Blob I watched all the way through came out probably 5 years ago, and I think that was bland. Yeah, the Moe Blob anime hasn't been. Probably it's a hard genre to invent in. It's like you kind of know what you're getting into, and you love it or you hate it, or you've gotten sick of it.
Okay, the next one I have, I think you'll actually enjoy, Agent. I think this is a good pick for you based off of what you've expressed so far.
Oh, good. Well, what I missed in my let's watch here.
So, this is The Legendary Hero is Dead.
Oh yeah, no, I was.
So the basic premise of this is a nothing character with no special abilities or anything from a little podunk town, purely by accident manages to kill the legendary hero in his stupid pit trap, and gets necromancied into the legendary hero's dead corpse body, and told that he has to do his job and murder all the demons. This does also have like a fairly strong comedy-oriented fan service element to it, where like the fan service is part of the joke. So if you are a fan of the kind of fan service that you would see in like, I don't know, maybe kind of like the fairy tale series, it has that kind of stuff going on. Here's me.
There we go. Yeah, this one was on the ones I was trying to catch up on, but I just couldn't get to in time.
That's fair. I will note that this is like an equal opportunity fan service anime, as I like to call it, where you're just as likely to see a nude dude running around censoring himself with his magic as you are to see a scantily clad female. So if you have, a strong pull to that kind of thing, and you really enjoy the fact that it, isn't purely, focusing on the females for the fan service, then this will probably be a good pick for you in that regard. On the other hand, if the concept of full male nudity is abhorrent to you, then maybe this one is one that you want to skip. Either way, I would say it has one of the more unique concepts we're seeing in terms of fantasy anime recently. And
it's not goddamn isekai, at least.
it is not an isekai, yeah. So it's one of the few like actual fantasy series, and on top of that, it is also it got a somewhat unique premise, and it's simultaneously somewhat serious and a comedy. Like it takes its plot thread seriously, but it's like if you had a D&D group and the DM was taking things seriously, but all the players were just being murder hobos. It's that kind of a series.
You say that like it's not like a lot of D&D groups.
Oh no, it absolutely is like a lot of D&D groups, which, may make it relatable for some people.
All right, I think we've sorry. All right, so this is also a Lindy Films. Once again, Tokyo Revengers, Beastars, Cells at Work Black, and Berserk. So we will see on that one. Terraformers too. Huh. I must have missed that. Oh, wait, that means the studio has 2 anime going this season. That's generally not great. Because this is also the studio that's doing the Insomniac anime.
Oh, I see. Yeah, and a lot of studios recently have been struggling to get even one anime out within the season, much less 2.
Yeah, and I know that other one had pretty good production quality too, so we will see on this one.
Legendary Hero is Dead. So far, the production quality's been okay. It's not, like, really, really dynamic camera angles and stuff like that. It's not that kind of a series. But it's certainly serviceable. There's nothing egregious about it.
Yep. Well, I will definitely give this. I definitely need to still give this a try. This will be something I at least probably do a 3-episode for, at the very least, unless something really throws me off early on.
Yeah, I think you'll probably end up sticking with that one based off of your preferences. I feel like that one is a pretty strong match for you.
All right. So was that it for your list, or did you still have one or two more? Because
I've got a couple more here. So I linked one. This one I'm going to go over only very, very quickly. Just to say that
one of the really generic isekai. Yeah,
yes,
Kodiak.
this is our probably our most generic, most tepid wish fulfillment isekai of the season, from what I have seen so far. The animation is certainly serviceable. The character designs remind me a lot of, I just can't remember names of anything today.
Yeah, no,
A regular at Magic High, I think. They definitely have that feel to them.
Yep.
It's not that, it doesn't have budget or anything like that. It's more that they threw a lot of budget at something that had nothing unique or redeeming about the actual plot, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, this is White Toast Isekai. From what I've seen of this, even as someone who likes Isekai is like, oh, this is just
Yeah, if
at
you
least
really
the main character doesn't look like is it Akira or let's see if I can find a good frame with him in it.
It's one of the series where if you like generic isekai based off of light novels, great. Have at it.
No,
If you don't, there's nothing special to draw you to this.
no, messy hair. That's the biggest standout I can see for him. Yeah. No, this one was probably going to be a pass. If this was a lighter season, maybe. Like I have the time at the moment to watch a lot now, but this is already such a weirdly stacked season with a good variety.
Okay, next up is the other, very generic fantasy, isekai anime. The Aristocrats' Otherworldly Adventure Serving Gods Who Go Too Far.
Yep.
So, this one I actually rate above the other one. It doesn't have nearly the production budget, but it's still okay. It's cute, which gives it something going for it at least. And it's got some humor to it, but it's nothing too special. And if you are bothered by the young reincarnated protagonist who attracts a harem of similarly young girls, this might be a hard pass for you.
Yeah. Honestly, this one was drawing me in more than a lot of the other generic-looking isekai, because it feels like they actually do world building.
They do, to some degree, yeah. And I would say it feels more interesting to watch than the last one that I brought on the list here. It's just more entertaining.
Well, it's also the romance side of it. If it's like, oh, these are a bunch of young kids who all kind of like each other, not like overly fan servicey. That's a lot more bearable too.
Yeah, it kind of leaned into the element of Elizabethan practices and how, like, it was scandalous that these characters slept in separate beds in the same room. So it, like, that's the closest really it got to fan service with that interaction. So if that's within your comfort zone, you're probably still okay. On the other hand, he did get a couple of kisses from some girls who were significantly older than him, even if they were just on the cheek, so if that kind of thing makes you uncomfortable, you might want to pass on it.
Yep. You know, this looked like the only of the highly generic isekai I was going to even give a shot. So this will probably get an episode out of me at the very least.
Yeah, I would say if nothing else, it's cute. And it uses the fact that the protagonist is extremely overpowered to kind of adorable comedic effect.
Yeah, like I said, it can be very nice on that. Alright, so is there any other bare-bones generic isekai that kind of blended into my brain that I have forgotten, or have we gotten through those?
Nope, we've gotten through those, which leaves me with, only two, series to talk about. The first is My Clueless First Friend, which I'll look at this real quick.
You know, it's like I did make sure to go over, at least look into almost all the originals airing this season. But like a lot of these, until I see the trailer, it's like, oh yeah, that was a thing. Wow, that's a link.
Oh yeah, sorry, I gave you the long link there.
It's not a problem. I can pull these up without like copying pasting actually.
So, this is one of those series where it's like a romance anime between the Outcast and the Genki Kid. I have been really enjoying this series, because I relate to, like, that kind of Outcast element, but also because the way that he finds himself attracted to the other character is unusual, and kind of drives things for me a little bit. The fact that he's actively drawn to the elements of the character that everybody else picks on her for, I think is very wholesome and endearing.
Okay, that's definitely something to be interesting. Now, are these supposed to be elementary or middle schoolers?
I'm pretty sure that, well, in Japan, elementary school is more like kindergarten. But I think these are like first year elementary school or middle school students.
I want to say that I know most of the time middle school has
Oh.
a uniform.
Actually, I know from episode 2 that they are specifically 5th grade.
Alright, so not middle school. Well,
Not
Oh,
middle
I'm
school by
middle
US
school.
standards, but I think they're middle school by Japanese standards.
okay. No, that looks like very nice, very wholesome. Once again, this is kind of my black area, so this is probably a pass for me.
Yeah, it's a cute, wholesome romance slice of life thing. If that's not your deal, then you're not gonna like it. And then there is one that I had definitely wanted to make sure to touch on, and I will wrap up my side of things with that.
So age range 12 to 13. What's that fifth grade?
And I'll drop you a
that's
link.
about the right time for hormones to kick in.
Well, their romance is also very innocent. There doesn't seem to be a lot of hormones driving it.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yes, so Oshinoko here is the last one I'm going to bring up. Definite content warnings in this one for, blood, murder, dark themes. Most of the anime isn't like that, but it occasionally takes very, very dark turns. I will note that this one also is very unusual for having a first episode that is over an hour and 20 minutes long.
Oh, yeah. You were telling me about that.
Yeah, I was so thrown off by it that I was originally thinking it was a series, and then I went to start the show, and I'm like, oh, I guess this was a movie. And then after I finished the first episode, I realized it has 11 episodes scheduled, and I'm like, oh, this is a series! I don't know for sure how they're planning to air this. I suspect that because it's 11 episodes, what they did was kind of roll the first, 3 episodes into one episode. But for all I know, these could be, hour and 20-minute episodes, 11 episodes long.
And hello, Centaur. Welcome to the stream. We are discussing anime. But yeah, no, there was one thing that was really interesting to know about this one. I have been seeing the ads for this on my YouTube accounts, and there have been 2 specific ads. One gives us a very wholesome rom-com romance style. The other one makes it look like it got a very dark horror anime. And I am very confused on what this is.
Yes, and I will tell you that it is both.
Okay.
Yes, it is simultaneously both of those things in one series. So there are sections of it that are very wholesome, idol anime, and slice of life, with a weird isekai element. I say isekai even though it's all happening in present day Japan, just because there's this reincarnation thing going on. But
oh yeah, one of my other channel members reincarnated into the baby of the idol.
yeah. And at the same time, there's also people being murdered, there's stalkers, there's jealousy, revenge, people being, the murders aren't, they're graphic too. Some of them, this isn't oh, you found out this person died. No, this is a protracted death scene in front of family members, and it's just brutal. So, be aware of that. There is definitely significant blood at times. And it does go very, very dark, but that's also part of what makes it so interesting. I'm not sure where this is going to go exactly now that episode 1 has completed, because episode 1 really wraps up its own plot lines and everything for the most part. But it does end with like some lead-ins, so I can tell where they're going with it. But I feel like there's a possibility it may turn into a very different series after episode 1.
Yep. And Joe, this is a high dive only anime, I believe, on that one.
Yes, as far as I know, this is a High Dive exclusive. I would recommend it though. If you are someone who can handle like blood and gore and dark themes, then this was definitely one to watch. At least episode 1. I don't know, if it's something that'll be worth sticking with or not, because I cannot predict the future.
Yet.
I'm working on the technology.
Yep, and the multi-stream if anybody wants to grab over that again. For anyone who's coming in. But yeah, no, that looked. I want to hear more on that one just because it's such a variety grab bag of concepts in a single anime, and those can really be hit or miss depending on how good the director, the writer, all that can be on those.
I will tell you, I walked away from episode 1 feeling like I had just watched an anime movie. So, like that's the quality of production values and everything that it brought to the table. So, if that's an appeal point for you, then be aware it's not going to be something where you show up and then are disappointed by the quality.
Okay, so yeah, this is on your watch list then?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to give this a shot and see where it goes in episode 2. Whether or not I stick with it will probably be largely contingent on whether or not there is at least a hint that some of these dark themes will be continuing. If it turns out that this is just going to turn into a generic idol anime after episode 1, it may end up losing me.
Okay, the last one I want to talk about is technically a sequel. I'll post this up in the Discord again. This is the one I didn't have preloaded, but one thing, I am a massive mecha fan, and since our genre is so bare bones, I do have to give any love I can.
Yeah, I can't say there were any new mecha anime really this season.
We're lucky if we get one a year, honestly. This is why when Gundam announces something, I do have to put it. But for anyone who was on the fence about Witch from Mercury, or just like, oh, Gundam has way too much, baggage to get it. This is a standalone series, and while it is, once again, Gundam, so bloody, a little bit war story, so it is violent, it does also have to be very wholesome and very... I don't want to say relatable, but something very easy to get into at the start.
Also, this one was notable, at least in Season 1, for its LGBTQ romance aspects. So, if you're a fan of series that treat that with a level of respect, and not just as like a humor point or something, or a trope, then this series may have some appeal for you.
I would say it's actually some of the best we've seen on that too, because it wasn't like, oh, this is a big deal. It's like, it very much, there was a joke of, yeah, no, I could marry a woman. We don't care about that here. And that's the only line I remember hearing on public about that. Like, oh no, people can just love each other. It's like, no matter on that. Which for a Japanese anime, especially a big one like Gundam, is an incredible deal.
Yeah, if you're at all familiar with the way that Japanese culture looks at LGBTQ relationships, it really is, I can't understate how big of a deal it is that it treated something like that as being so normal and something that should be taken for granted. because it very much is still a taboo subject in Japan.
Honestly, like I was trying to think of like other Western animations or shows that treated it just as good, and it's like the only one that's even coming close to my mind is the Owl House. On that. Now, the one thing to note that the series did get in a little bit of hot water for, I wouldn't say trouble, but a few flags did get raised. Was season 1 does start off very lighthearted, very slice of lifey, almost in some aspects, and very high school even. And at the very end, it does bring out all of the violence.
Well, to be fair, it actually had a lot of the violence at the very beginning, too.
Oh, and not to mention the darkest rendition of Happy Birthday I've ever seen. Ever. In any series, in anything.
I mean, episode 1, like, you should have had an expectation that kind of stuff could happen in this, having seen episode 1. I think if people were shocked by that, then that's kind of their own fault for not having realized that if it did it before, it could do it again.
A bit of a clarification. Technically, that wasn't episode 1. That was the what's that called? The pre-episode.
Oh, the prequel.
Not prequel, but prologue, not prologue.
Prologue. Yeah.
Prologue. That's it. I don't know why I can remember that. Yeah, episode 0 or prologue.
Fair enough.
Prelude, also a word. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think actually this one had a episode called Prelude and an episode called Prologue, which I remember being weird.
But yeah, no, it's if you aren't aware of it or you didn't see the memes or the general shock of everyone like, oh, this is a lighthearted fun series, and then we got the splat scene. Just to be note, it will start off lighthearted if you don't watch the 0 episode, but will get very dark and will become a good war story. I should say war story, but political drama.
Well, space opera is usually considered the genre there.
It's space opera. I'll give you that one. But yeah, no, it will be very dark, and dear God, the production quality on this. Our Sunrise and Bandai are making enough bank off them Gunpla models that they are throwing it all into this anime. Just dear God, so beautiful and so many different scenes.
Yeah, and they did an excellent job with the compositing. Like, I'm 99% sure that most, if not all, of these robots are 3D CG, but it's nearly impossible to tell, aside from the fact that they're using such dynamic movements and camera angles on them a lot of the time.
It is a blend, actually. And it's almost impossible to tell. Like, there's only one scene where you can clearly tell, and you're meant to be able to tell in that one scene.
Interesting. Yeah, I will say it's definitely very high quality. I at no point felt myself going, oh, I'm disappointed by this 3D CG. Very, very good shaders, very, very good compositing. Even as someone who is very good at picking that stuff out, it didn't stand out to me at all.
Yep, no, they have definitely gone all out on this one. Okay, that will be about wrapping it up for us. Do you have anybody you would like to raid?
Let me take a look at who I've got available on my side.
All right, because I have one person that's not like a big streamer I follow. I always feel so weird going into their stuff. But But as for this, okay, we will definitely probably not be doing this as a weekly thing, but we might pull this back up for a mid-anime, and I would like to do this at least at every start of every season. I don't know how you feel about that, Yuki.
I think it could be fun to do like a season wrap-up where we do like a retrospective on, how we felt about things, or like a mid-season, like you're saying, where we check in to see if, series have really been developing how we expected. But yeah, I think, this would be something I'd be interested in doing again for start of season, especially when everyone's looking to find out what they should be watching for the new season.
Yep. And it is nice that we have a good retrospective here for both sides of this. So I do feel like we're at least, I don't want to say opposite end of the spectrum, but our taste varied enough while coming from the same spot that we do get a good pinnacle on that.
Yeah, I think we had a good broad coverage.
Yep.
Except for sports.
Sports have to be very good. How about that for Raid?
Oh yeah, I didn't see her on my list, but if she's streaming, absolutely.
Yep. So we're gonna send you over to Cheyenne. Make sure to say hi, everybody. And let's see.
It's weird. I still don't see her even after refreshing.
But I hope you do it. Well, I'll be definitely doing some as a variety streamer. I'll be doing at least 3 streams a week. I'm definitely going through a lot of Battle Network right now. We will resume our regularly scheduled schedule soon. Yuki, anything you would like to say to our audience?
Nope. My schedule is not very set or anything, so I will.
know you are going through Tactics Ogre right now.
Yes, I'll hopefully be wrapping that up sometime vaguely soon, but I understand that this final dungeon is quite long, so it may take a couple of episodes to get through it, at best.
All right.
I may also take a break and play a few other things in the meantime.
Yeah, no, those Tactics games could definitely be around. I know Tactics Ogre, the one I played myself, was very draining and defeating at the end.
Yeah, it feels like you're so close to victory, and yet the finish line feels like it just keeps moving further away from you.
Yep. All right, I'll send you guys over there. Make sure to say hi.
Thank you for coming, everybody. Bye-bye, matane! That's all for this episode. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, subscribe, or join me on Twitch or Twitter. Hope to see you next time on Yukikaze Gaming. Matane!